What is the point of getting back on track if you have fallen off, if you are too busy, if you're too stressed? What is the point, right? Um, I'm going to be talking about that in this video. There are so many times where we can get so stuck in a rut of wanting to do so many things, wanting to set these goals, wanting to take care of ourselves better and more efficiently. And we get caught up, life happens, we get busy, we get stressed out, and then we are not sure like how to get back on track with the things that we have set ourselves up to do, right? The goals that we have made for ourselves, the promises that we made for ourselves. It's like things just kind of start to get in the way. Life gets in the way. It's very common, and you're not alone. Part of the inspiration for this video is because I've gone through this before myself. You know, it happens. And as we are approaching a new season, at least as I am recording this video, we are 5 days away from spring, which is when I celebrate the new year and spring equinox. And so it doesn't matter when you celebrate the new year. This is really about like what you want for yourself. And I'm going to be sharing 3 tips to really help you get back on track. And this is part 2 of a self-care series that I'm doing. So definitely stay tuned and be sure to check out the upcoming videos in this series. So let's get into tip number 1. When it comes to what you can start doing to get back on track, the first tip that I want to share is to shed the old. You have to let go, and I'm talking about physically and emotionally and energetically. It is time to shed things that are stagnant and that are just weighing you down in your life, whether it's your physical space, like you can see behind me. One of the things I'm actually doing is I'm going through all of my books on my bookshelf, and I'm going to be doing, just some decluttering, clearing things out, looking at like what I have going on, like just moving things around, clearing things out, cleaning, organizing. I'm going to be doing this in my closet as well. So those are some examples of like the physical things that you want to shed when it comes to your physical space. Also, when it comes to your body, maybe you're wanting to do some type of cleanse. Sometimes, and it's not, a cleanse isn't always about food. Sometimes it can be, but sometimes it's a social media cleanse or like a digital cleanse where you're just, just kind of giving yourself an opportunity to reset and not be so focused on social media, on, watching TV and stuff like that. And you're just tuning into nature, right? So what does that look like for you? That's really the question. When it comes to what is something that you need to shed, like what is that thing? What do you need? What is old stagnant energy that is cluttering up your physical and your energetic and emotional space? Sometimes shedding the old is about certain thoughts that you have of yourself, certain thoughts and like these roles and these identities that you have claimed, and maybe it's time to let some of those things go. So that is what shedding the old is all about. Why? Because when you start to release, and I've talked about this in previous videos, when you allow yourself to release, you are creating space for new things and new possibilities to enter into your life. And so that's the goal here. So let's go into tip number 2. Tip number 2 for what you can start doing to get back on track is giving yourself an opportunity to focus on the present and to focus on the future. You have to be present and future focused versus only dwelling on the past of things that used to work for you. Because here is the thing, those things are not going to work for you in the same way. Maybe there are certain things that you enjoyed in the past or things that really did work well for you, but the capacity that you had then is probably different from the capacity that you have now. So by capacity, I'm talking about the time. I'm talking about the when it comes to like, yeah, the amount of time, the amount of energy you have to put into it, the frequency of it. So sometimes those things change. Also, the expectations that you had for something that worked really well for you in the past compared to what that could look like now and what that could look like moving forward might be very different. Whether it's your exercise routine, any of your like self-care habits that you're wanting to incorporate, sometimes you have to give yourself some grace with that. So, for example, when it comes to sleep, which I feel like is a very important aspect of self care and any goals that you're wanting to accomplish, right? You want to have the energy, you want to be well rested, so you want to have quality sleep. So maybe even looking at the time frames, the expectations that you have was, oh, I'm going to go to bed at this time. Maybe that doesn't work for you as much anymore, and you need to have like a range of within a 30-minute time frame or within a 45-minute time frame compared to trying to have this hard stop. Allowing yourself to ease into it as well. So when you are wanting to establish new habits or get back on track with habits and goals that you set for yourself, start looking at being present and future focused. And it's like, what do I have the capacity for now compared to what that was a year ago, right? Maybe you just had a kid. Maybe you just got, a new position at your job. And so the amount of responsibility that you have is different from when you initially started the goals or started these habits. So that's where the present and future focus really come in. And then allow yourself the opportunity to really look at what you need most right now. And that takes me to tip number 3, which is all about like doing less, but doing those things like more efficiently. Give yourself the time to not have so much, like we already have so much on your plate. So if you know that the reason why you've been falling off track is because you've been too busy or you've been too stressed out, then it's time to really look at, are you putting too much on your plate too soon? So you can be very ambitious and want to have a lot of goals that you're wanting to reach, but this is the time to start to reduce the amount of things that you have on your plate and give yourself 1 to maybe 3 things that you're really focusing on that you want to be the most consistent with. And then so for example, if you have like 3 things that you were wanting to do and you've been kind of falling off the wagon there, then maybe it's time to just focus on 1 thing and allow yourself to get really good and really efficient at that 1 thing. And then you can always build from there, right? Because one of the benefits of that is it will help you build confidence and trust in yourself. So you can start adding on new habits and setting new goals for yourself. Oftentimes it feels good in the moment to have 10 different goals, but you also have to look at, like I mentioned, look at the capacity that you have, but then it's also the time frame. How realistic is it for you to have 10 things on your plate right now if you don't have the capacity for it? So maybe, and this doesn't mean you can't have 10 goals, but maybe it's the time frame in which you're setting them. So maybe over the course of the next 6 months, you have 10 goals, but you're starting with 1 or 2 right now, or as you're moving into spring or moving into the next quarter, whatever it is, whatever time, whatever season you're watching this video, just really looking at 1 to 2 things, and then how you can map out some of those other goals later on in the year, after you have established yourself and built trust in yourself to follow through with the 1 or 2 goals. Because that's one of the biggest things. When you start to fall off track, you start to lose confidence in yourself. You start not to trust yourself enough to follow through as much as, you have these intentions, but you're just like, damn, I don't know if I'm saying it, but I'm not following through with what I'm, with what I'm doing. And energetically and emotionally, that there is a consequence there. And so one of the things you want to build up is that trust in yourself to follow through. And one of the easiest ways to do that is by doing less. Pick one or two things. Stop having all these things that you're wanting to do all at the same time, right? You can have all these things, but spread them out. Give yourself time to actually embody the change that you're wanting in your life. Like, change takes time sometimes, especially if when it comes to your self-care, when it comes to wanting to grow and improve and as a person, it takes time for you to grow into that. So give yourself that time to do that. It's so easy to be busy. It's a lot harder and a lot more challenging to be intentional with optimizing your time for your own self-care and for your own personal growth and development. It's a lot more challenging to do that, to be really clear and set some really clear boundaries on things that allow you to invest in yourself. And that's what self-care is about. That's what setting certain goals are about. It's about investing in yourself, because when you do that, and when you start with self-care, you just simultaneously are able to improve other areas of your life when you put that energy and that intention into yourself. So that's something to think about. And I'll share a bonus tip here as well. When it comes to ways that you can get back on track, you have to really get clear on like what you want to commit to. Sometimes you're saying that you want to set these goals, but it's not actually in alignment or even realistic with what you truly want or need. And this is a big bonus tip, okay? Because it kind of goes back to what I was saying in the first tip about, like, the thing when you start letting go of certain things, you start to realize what's no longer serving you. So sometimes it's the goals that you're setting are just not in alignment, and that's why you're not following through. That's why you keep getting off track, because that's not actually what you want or need. So the question is, what is it that you want? What is it that you need? So ask yourself, the goals that I currently have, the self-care habits that I'm wanting to form, the self-care routine that I'm wanting to implement, in what way is that in alignment with who I am wanting to become? Not with who I was, not with the past, not with all the old stuff, with the present and the future version of yourself. And I talked about that in the second tip about being present and future focused. Ask yourself, and feel free to let me know in the comments, like, what is it with this specific goal? Is it in alignment with what you want and what you need when it comes to who you are becoming, and what you like, when it comes to what you need, like what you need most now? And then also, is it supporting who you're wanting to become, what you're wanting to grow into or change out of, right? We're all seeking some form of transformation, but if the goals you're setting are in alignment with that, then it's never going to work. It's always, and then you're going to be caught up in that loop of feeling guilty about it. And I talked about that in my last video. So it's just some things to think about. And this is a great opportunity. I talked about during the spring equinox, when I did the spring equinox collective reading, how this, as we're moving into spring, if you're watching this, we're moving into spring, but it doesn't matter when you're watching this. This is applicable at any point in your life. right? But when it's time to like, but spring equinox 2022 is calling for you to make decisions. It's calling for you to really get clear and to move forward. But part of it is, do you know yourself enough yet? Do you know enough about yourself when it comes to the direction that you're wanting to move into? Not with where you've been, where you've been. You take the lessons from that. You can take the lesson from that, transmute that, and then start thinking about, like, where do you want to be a year from now? Where do you want to be 6 months from now? What would you like to, like, 6 months from now, what would you like to look back and think and see happening for yourself? What would you like to be able to reflect on and be proud of looking back and being like, yep, you know what? I did that. I moved towards that. Yes, I did the damn thing, right? Like, what are those things? When you start to think about that, what that allows you to do is expand your vision, expand like the possibilities of what life can look like for you, of who you can be. And that is why, you're going to hear me talking about this a lot, but I feel like it's so important. And the more that you know who you are, the more that you give yourself the opportunity to learn who you are. And a pro tip, one of the ways to learn more about who you are is through establishing self-care habits, is through really assessing what is actually moving you towards things that you want and desire. What are the things that excite you? What are the things that inspire you? What are the things that make you think outside the box? What are the things that bring out that creative side of you, right? Like, these are the things that I encourage you to think about. Like I mentioned, it's very easy to get caught up and be busy. It's very, very different and much more challenging to reinvest in yourself through time and through intention. And one of the caveats here is that, like, sometimes the things that we know are good for us and the things that we know that we want, we kind of have this expectation, this unconscious expectation that it's going to be easier. It's going to be easier because it's something that you want in your life. It's going to be easier because it's like, oh, well, this is supposed to feel good, or, oh, this is going to, make me look good, or, oh, this is going to give me the results that I want. This is going to make me happier. This is going to make me more successful, or this is going to, attract that relationship that I want. But it's like, that doesn't mean it's not going to be easy. I mean, that doesn't mean it's going to be easy. Right? There is still going to be challenges. There's still going to be things that are going to make you uncomfortable. And I feel like that is the unconscious expectation that we have. And it's like, oh, wait, this is hard. This isn't supposed to be hard. What I want in life isn't supposed to be hard. Like, I don't know. Am I the only one that has had that before? Because I feel like that kind of happens. And it's like, maybe we should look at that differently now. Because the things that create the greatest transformation, oftentimes, it creates, like, it draws out the areas within ourselves that have the most resistance towards that change and that transformation. So anytime you are up, when you're noticing resistance coming, but kind of bubbling up, resistance that you have towards who you're wanting to become, resistance towards these goals that you've been setting for yourself, resistance towards, like, staying consistent. When that comes up, start to question what that's about. Is it because the goal that you set is not actually what you really want? It's just what you were told you should want? Or it was a goal that you had when you were like 25, but you're like 38 now, and maybe you're different. I know I'm much different, right? Who I was in my 20s is way different from where I'm at now. So just think about that. Is that the resistance? Because like you're just a different person now and you haven't given yourself enough time to like tune in and really assess like what is it that you really want or need now and moving forward? What do you want your life to look like now and moving forward compared to 10 years ago or 5 years ago or even last year? And, you know, when it comes to that resistance, another way that resistance can come up is through how you're doing it. Maybe you know that, yes, this is what I want, but maybe the way in which you're going about it needs to change. So it could just be the approach. And again, you know what needs to happen here for you to even realize this? Like, are you giving yourself enough time to think? Do you create the space in your life, in your day, to just think and to listen to your body and listen to your spirit and to tune in? Like, how often do you give yourself the opportunity to just listen to your own thoughts? And I'm not talking about like beating the thoughts that are beating yourself up, or the thoughts that are like telling you, that are kind of bringing you down and telling you that, oh, or you're not good enough, or those thoughts that are making you feel guilty. I'm talking about like giving yourself that time to think and to create space to expand the vision, to ask yourself questions about yourself. Have you ever sat back and just done that? Like I do that. Like, how are you feeling today, Ujo? Like, what's going on with you? Like, I don't know. Let me see. maybe I'm crazy for it, but it's like, let me tune into my own body. Let me ask my body some questions. Let me ask my spirit. Let me tune in and just figure out what's going on up in here. Right? Like, let me tune into my spirit. Like, let me tune in and just create that time to learn about myself. You're going to hear me say this a lot as well. You are with you live in your body your whole life. But you don't always know who you are. Like that's an ongoing growing thing. And so the way that you get to learn about yourself is through new experiences. It's through creating change. It's through establishing new habits and following through with the things that you're really wanting. So I hope that these tips that I've shared 3 tips plus a couple of bonus tips actually, on how to get back on track. And I hope that you take these and apply them. And this is part 2 of a self-care series that I'm doing. If you did not catch the first video, be sure to do that. The link is in the description of the video. And also like this video if you liked it. You can catch me streaming live on YouTube at 5 p.m. Central on Tuesdays, at least for now. Maybe that date and time might change in the future, but at least as of now, Tuesdays at 5 p.m. Central is when you can catch me live. And then, of course, you can always catch the replay on my YouTube channel at Ujo Wadjet. And yeah, let me know, what are some of the goals? What are some of the biggest takeaways that you have from this video? And if you have not done so already, be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel and share this video with someone that you think would find benefit from it. And I hope that you enjoy the rest of your week, the rest of your day, whatever time you're watching this. And now is the time to really start getting clear on what you're wanting to change, what you're wanting to change, what you're wanting to create in your life, and what you're wanting to let go of. So do those things, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.